Let's Achieve Change is a podcast by Pamela Grove, Doctor of Physical Therapy, Pain and Movement Specialist of Metanoia Education and Wellness Center. I propose to be that advocacy channel, making you aware, bringing the public more information on health and wellness topics, especially as it pertains to chronic pain and disabilities. I would like to be that voice for those silent sufferers out there who are not able to speak for themselves. If you'd like to know more about Let's Achieve Change, please visit our website at changeachieve.com or pamelagrove.com. If you'd like to be a speaker or you know someone else who wants to be a speaker, also visit the website and leave your email information and we will be in touch with you as soon as possible. Let's Achieve Change will air every 2 to 3 weeks, bringing you various topics on health and wellness and making the public more aware of issues that are not being discussed. We thank you very much for tuning in. Hello. Thank you for joining me today on Let's Achieve Change. I'm Pamela Grove, Doctor of Physical Therapy, Pain and Movement Specialist of Metanoia Education and Wellness Center. Listen, if you want to make some changes, you have tuned in to the right podcast. Now listen, don't forget to hit that notification button so that you can subscribe and you won't miss any future episodes on some changes you might want to make. Well, hello there. Welcome back to, this is episode 4 of season 3. We're really rolling in season 3. And we've been really dealing with a lot of things that are happening with people silently suffering out there. I'm going to take a little bit of a turn because it's such a big animal to dive into. So we're going to deal with patient advocacy for the next several weeks. And the reason why I'm going to do probably a few weeks on this is because there are so many things we can bring out. For example, negative outcomes with lack of patient advocacy is showing that it can lead to prolonged recovery times. It's showing that there are worsening to health complications. Even statistics are showing that there's even more untimely deaths. When patients don't have the ability to navigate the healthcare system, it's more mental, emotional, and even financial burdens on them. There are studies supporting that there is even more stress on the healthcare system because of readmissions and things of that sort. So we're going to get into all of that over the next couple of weeks. I'm going to highlight a little bit more studies to substantiate the necessary things that we might want to put into place to make it so that patients are more educated. So maybe medical staffs have more support and more counseling to also be able to be better advocates. So I do have a guest coming on today. Her name is Nancy. Nancy is not a professional, but she is bringing so much to the table from a personal standpoint. And I'm going to have a lot of guests like this over the next couple of weeks. And I think they are very insightful. I'm a true believer in personal experiences, been a great teacher for all of us. So without further ado, I will bring on Nancy. Well, hello there. Today I have Nancy with us, and I'm excited to talk to Nancy. Nancy, how are you?
I'm doing great. How are you doing?
Good. Thank you for joining us today. So, Nancy, I want you to, because I know you have had a lot of experience, and maybe not professionally, but I think personally. So I think you come to the table with a lot of good information. But I want you to share with the audience, how do you view patient advocacy? So if I had to ask you to define that, how would you put that in your own words? And how do you feel that you play a role in that?
I think it's important for everyone to have a person in their life that can guide them through some of the healthcare systems that they might not understand as far as explaining what the doctors are talking about, helping them make and keep appointments or guide them towards a physician that they might not have thought about.
Okay.
And just helping them through the whole healthcare process. Some people don't understand it and, just have a hard time. And so they may not even go to the doctor just because they don't know where they're supposed to go or who they're supposed to see.
Exactly.
And I think it's pretty important to have someone that can maybe guide you through those.
Exactly. So and I know we only got about 35 minutes because I know you and I've spoken to you so many times, so I know you got so much to share. So I'm going to try to hit it more directly because I don't want to run out of time. But so we're going to start with your sister first, I think. So your sister is in the VA system. So I want you to just try to talk to the audience a little bit of some of the things you had to advocate for her in the VA system. And you can tell some things that were very significant that maybe if you didn't advocate, what could have happened or anything about that. What can you give us some information?
Sure. My sister, like you said, she's a veteran and she had a brain aneurysm about 17 years ago, which left her completely like a child. So she had to relearn everything. And in visiting her at the VA, I had no idea what was involved in the process of getting her better and helping her along. But she was in there for quite a while and I was there every day. I was afraid she'd wake up. You know, she was in a coma for a long time and wouldn't know any of the faces. But I would come in, and it really is important to have someone that will be there for you when you're in the hospital or wherever you might be, just to make sure that you're being cared for properly. There would be times I would walk in and she, you know, at the time she was in diapers and she would, you know, put her hand in the diaper and it would be all over her, all over the walls, everything. It was just, and nobody should even walk in and check on her, clean her up. And it happened a few times. I mean, I could only stay for so long every day. I was driving from Chattanooga to Atlanta every day. It appalled me. And after a while of talking to the nurses and things, nothing got done. So I actually had to go to the director of the VA and have a talk with them to make sure that she was getting the proper attention she needed.
Now, how did you go through that channel? Because that's not as easy done as said.
Well, I asked the nurse if I could talk to someone higher up than her. And she said, well, I can let you talk to my supervisor. I'm like, no, higher, at the highest. I want to go to the top. And so she made me an appointment, and it was interesting. They led me to an elevator with these two big guys on each side of me, like in the movies.
Hold that thought for 1 second. So were you in a VA facility?
Yes, VA hospital.
Okay, go ahead. Now, go ahead.
So they escorted me up the elevator and getting off and led me into a double door room. There's a desk with a gentleman sitting there, and they are one on each side of me at the back of me.
Oh no!
Yeah, it was really interesting. It was like you see in the movies. So anyway, I explained to him, you know, my concerns. With what was going on, and he said, "I'll take care of it, and it won't happen again." And it pretty much cleared things up.
Wow. Okay.
But, you know, a lot of times you really have to just be the one that says, I'm not taking this anymore and something has to be done. I mean, it's your family member. And of course you want them to be taken care of like they're supposed to be taken care of. And that doesn't always happen, no matter where you are.
Yeah. And I want to just say, because the audience cannot see you, but Miss Nancy is probably no more than about 5 foot tall, 100 pounds wet. And I'm quite sure those guys were twice your size.
Oh, by all means, they were. They were very intimidating.
I say that because I want people to understand that sometimes you have to have a voice, even though you think your voice is not big enough or loud enough. You know what I mean? So,
right.
Okay, so that was that situation. And I'm quite sure you can probably give me a lot more with that. But let's go a little bit further now. Let's go on to maybe, did she go to another facility and you saw problems in another facility at another particular time?
Yes. After that, she was in there for probably 3 months, and they transferred her to a physical therapy. And I guess most of them are in nursing homes or what have you. But again, I was there every day, and there would be times, one time specifically, I went in her room, she wasn't there, and they said she was in the lunchroom or the cafeteria. And I walked in, it's a huge cafeteria, and there was not a soul in there but her.
Wow.
And they had her pushed looking towards the wall.
What?
So she couldn't look around. And you have to realize she can't speak at this time. She hasn't learned how to speak yet.
Oh my gosh.
And she's in a wheelchair.
Oh, Lord.
And so she can't get up and walk away. She can't speak. She can't verbalize anything.
That was called abuse. That was abuse. Yeah.
And
Abuse, yeah.
I guess just walking through the hallways to get to her room, you realize how sad it is to see these patients because they're sitting in the wheelchairs and there's nobody there for them and they're pushed out in the hallway.
Mm-hmm.
And so going back to walking into the cafeteria to see her, it was a long way to the other side. And I said, Pam, I'm here. And I could hear her cry.
Oh my gosh.
And it was heartbreaking. So we had to have a little speech with the supervisor there. And it was an adventure through the whole process of the time she actually when she first went in, she went to Emory. And she was in there for probably 3 months in a coma and then moved to the VA and then into a physical therapy facility to help her learn how to walk and try to verbalize her words and actually even to hold a fork and a spoon. It was
so your general consensus was if you had not been there all those different times for her, she would never have probably got back to where she gotten back to. Probably not.
Probably not.
Yeah,
and I was there for a lot of her physical therapy sessions and just watching her try to walk, she would drag her toes. And I thought, that doesn't look quite right. And so I, did some research and she had drop foot syndrome and they were supposed to have put her in corrective braces to keep that and shoes to keep that from happening. And they did not.
Yeah.
So you have to keep on top of everything because they will not. They it's like they're supposed to have your best interest in mind, but sometimes they really don't. They just guide you through what they're supposed to be doing and next.
Yeah. I always say the squeaky wheel gets the oil, and it does.
Yes, it does.
It does.
And I can't help but think every time Pam is in a facility, whether it be the hospital or just, for something minor and she's in there, I walk by the rooms and I can't help but look in and I'm saddened by the thought that there's no one going to come and check on them or see them or almost just want to go in there and, take up for them.
And not to cut you off, because I know you got a couple more things I'm going to ask you about Pam. But, and that's why I'm doing this podcast. I think, sometimes people need to just take inventory on themselves and say, am I doing enough? Even whether you're a health professional or you are a lay person, a family member or whatever you are, am I doing enough? Just that thought process, I think maybe can gear up a little bit more of a change, hopefully, you know what I'm saying? But I want you to share about another particular instance you told me about. This was recently. Pam was again had to be admitted because of a fall and leading to a lot of other medical problems. And can you tell the audience about? Don't name the name of the place. I'm trying to stay out of trouble here. So, but don't name the place. But tell us how long she was in this facility and whether she was actually got any physical therapy services. And that's what I want to bring up a little quickly.
Okay. She was in physical therapy after a fall for a couple of weeks. She was walking beforehand, before the fall, and could not walk after. So they had sent her to physical therapy.
And did she get physical therapy right away?
No, she didn't. After probably the second day, I asked her if anyone was coming in there to, get her up and walk her around. And she said, no one's been in here to walk me. Nobody's been in here and got me up at all. And it says on her board, nurse to come in and walk her with her walker daily and then PT. And so I asked one of the nurses about it and she said that she would have somebody come in. And so the next day I went in, nothing. So I called and talked to the head nurse and I said, she's got these problems, COPD and a blood clot. She needs to be walking. We've worked real hard to get her where she was before she got here.
Right.
And we don't want her to lose that.
Right.
And she said, well, PT's coming in, they'll be coming in to get her up. And I'm like, it's a weekend.
Wow.
PT's not coming in.
Yeah.
And she gave me a hard time about it. I said, listen, I'm just asking the nurse to get her up out of bed, walk her to the door and back to her bed, just anything, just get her up.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. So the next day I went in, nothing.
Wow.
So I spoke to the doctor and he said that he would have a talk with the head nurse and the nurse's staff and PT. So the next day I went in, nothing.
Wow.
And so
how many days have gone by this time? About these 5 days? Probably about 5.
It was more than 5. It was probably 7 or 8.
Wow.
Before they came in. They weren't turning her. They weren't doing anything with her.
Wow.
And after I spoke to you and learned that I should just call the PT department. So that's what I did.
Yeah.
And they were on the ball then.
Yeah.
She's like, I'm going to investigate this and I'll find out. And so anytime they saw me come in, they were in the room.
Squeaky wheels, squeaky wheels. Yep. Keep saying that over and over again.
Yeah. Right. Can I give you a bath? Do you need a bath? Do you want me to wash your hair? Can I take you for a walk? What can we do for you? Did you be turned?
Oh, yeah.
So I'm telling you, you can't just assume that they're doing
assume. You cannot
assume. Can't assume anything.
Okay, so we're going to get off of Pam.
Okay.
Go on to your lovely husband. Okay, so give me some. I know I want the audience to know because I know the stories, but some of these stories are just still flabbergasted. I get flabbergasted by some of these stories. But the ones with some of the surgeries he's had and all, getting to some of the physicians you got him to, and just some of those things. Can you just kind of give us just a couple? Because we're going to run out of time. You got too many stories, Nancy. I mean, you got too many things here. Go ahead. Tell me a couple more.
Right. Well, he's had 7 back surgeries.
Oh, geez.
And a neck surgery. I guess it was the 3rd surgery for his back that left him partially paralyzed in one of his legs, his foot, and up to his knee, and much greater pain than he was in before. So in trying to figure out how to get his feet working again, we figured it can't be done. I mean, they're either your feelings going to come back or not. We tried massages and everything. So he had to have a surgery after that to repair that surgery.
Wow. And
he just, he was always after these surgeries, always in a lot of pain and telling me things that I couldn't help him with. Things that shouldn't be related to his surgery. So I started looking up every little thing that he said to me. And of course, one thing leads to another that leads to another. So you kind of get an idea of what's going on with them.
Yeah.
So that next time you go to the doctor, you can say, this is happening and why.
Yeah. Yeah.
And a lot of times they don't know.
Yeah.
They have no idea. And I started researching, thinking that some of the things that he was suffering from might have been an autoimmune disease, or I've looked up everything. I've tried everything. The last surgery he had he has bone spurs that just keep growing and growing. And he had actually, from the 3rd surgery I told you about, he had a fractured neck from that. And so he had a surgery to fix that. Plus he has a lot of arthritis. And this last doctor said that it was essential for him to have this surgery, that he just had to have it. There was just no way he could not have it either now or sometime down the line.
Okay.
So we're talking, and I called and said, I just need to know what's involved in this. How many fusions is that going to include?
Well, how many you mean how many levels?
How many levels?
Levels.
Yes. How many levels are we talking about? Because your neck is pretty important to be able to, look up, down, sideways. And so I wanted to know what kind of range he would have after surgery.
And I was talking about fusing him from neck down, from cervical, the top of the cervical spine at this point. Right. Okay.
Yeah. And I talked to the nurse, and he was very standoffish about it. Well, you should have known, or you should look, you can look at the paperwork and see what that involves. And I'm like, no, I'm asking you.
Right.
So it's C2, which is the very top of your spine next to your skull. There's 1 and 2, and it did not involve 1, but 2, all the way down to T2,
Wow.
which goes almost between your shoulders. And so all those are fused. And I told him, I said, you need to understand you're not going to be able to look up or down, and very limited side to side.
Right.
So he had the surgery, and it was, for anyone that's thinking about having this done, it was the most horrific out of all of his surgeries. He's been through a lot. The most horrific thing I've ever witnessed. It was absolutely horrible.
Wow.
And he should have been sent to a physical therapy directly from the hospital.
And he didn't, it wasn't offered to him?
Not even offered, no.
What?
And no, and we're talking 4 days after surgery, they sent him home with me.
But what was the reason for them not recommending therapy for him or sending him to the facility?
I don't know. I have no idea.
Gosh. Okay.
So, I get him home, and, he's medicated terribly. And when their medication starts wearing off, the one that kind of makes him feel okay.
Yeah, the block. Yeah.
The block, and, they give him the drip and all that. But, when you take all that away and you're left with just the oral medication that they give you, which they forgot to prescribe, he was just flipping out and trying to get out of bed. And he's not supposed to move his neck. And I've been doing this for a long time, and I couldn't handle him. He's a big man.
Yeah.
6'5" and uncontrollable.
Yeah.
And so I ended up having to call an ambulance to take him to the hospital, because I felt like that's where he needed to be, in the hospital, not with me. And
they sent him home 4 days after surgery, no therapy. Medications was not even together.
No, it wasn't, not even prescribed. I mean, it was prescribed. They just forgot to call it in. And it's a weekend.
Oh my God. Always a weekend. I'm sorry. I'm laughing with you now. Oh my God.
You almost have to laugh to keep from.
Did he lose any use of, because we're gonna end up running out of time in 10 minutes. Did he lose any use of his arms or legs, or any other sensations or anything from that surgery initially?
He couldn't use his arms. He could walk, but the pressure from standing up was tremendous. So really, he could only lay down and be halfway comfortable. But I had to hand feed him for probably 2 weeks, because he couldn't even lift his arm to lift a fork.
And didn't they do an examination, the physicians, of that before he left the hospital? He couldn't use his arms before he left the hospital, correct? They didn't check his ability to use his arms?
No. Well, when he was in the hospital, they sent PT in.
Okay.
They were in there for maybe 15 minutes. They got him up, walked him down the hall, and put him back in bed. Then they sent OT in for 15, 20 minutes. And he's tremendously drugged up. So he's not going to remember anything they tell him. So before he came home from the hospital, I called and said, could you send PT back out just one more time and go over how to get out of bed properly and some of the things he's really going to need to know, because I don't think he understood or got it the first time. And they're like, nope, we released him. That's it. I'm like, seriously?
So that's why I think that's what I'm saying. Some of this doesn't make sense, because that sounds like, too, even PT and OT did not make a recommendation for even home health to come.
No.
Right. Wow.
No.
Yeah. Wow.
And I had no idea, from the previous surgeries. I mean, we got through it, but not this one.
Yeah. So it was not until you, you can't mention the name, was not until you did more investigation and you finally got therapy on your own. Is that what you did finally?
Yes, we went back for his one of his checkups, and I had asked his doctor about getting physical therapy, and he's like, "Oh, well, yeah, I guess so." And I'm like, and I'm not. I don't want to have to take him. I want someone to come to the house. He can't ride. So they gave me a couple of names, and I called one, and they said, no, you have to bring him here. And I'm like, well, no, you're not the one for me. And then I called You.
No, yeah. We're not gonna mention anything else about that, but okay.
Yeah. Look, that's how I found you. Thank goodness.
Oh gosh. Okay. Well, we're gonna move on, but this is just some of these stories you can't make them up. I mean, it's unreal. It's just unreal. Okay, so we're gonna make a conclusion that we know that you have made a significant difference in your sister and your husband's life. But we got 5 minutes. Can you really quickly tell me how you are advocating for other people that are in your environment? Because I think by you saying this is going to help even some people out there and say, you know what, I can do that as well. So you were telling me some of these stories. What really quickly, some of the things that people call you and ask you, and what do you do?
I think the biggest.
I think you have Nancy. I think you got a sign on your face that says "patient advocate" on your face.
I never even thought about that before. It never even crossed my mind. I just take care of people.
Yeah.
But after you said that, I guess so. I guess what I would like to share with people is it's really important to have someone, and it really doesn't matter who it is, just someone that can help you navigate the system, and someone that can check in on you and make sure that you're being taken care of properly, even if it's just, a couple of friends that check in, or somebody that can just make sure that you get to your appointments or make your appointments, or help the doctor understand what your symptoms are. Because a lot of people, they get there, they forget.
Exactly.
And they don't write it down. They forget, what's going on with them. And so they can't share that. And I think another important thing for the system would be if the doctors could share their information with their other doctors, if they could have a system where they could look at their history and see what they've already done, or what they've been through.
Yeah.
And I think another good point would be if you have someone, when the doctor has you in as a patient, and they're giving you your post-op or pre-op or whatever it may be, there should be some kind of system where they can send you home with what you've talked about.
Yeah.
Because, they get home and say, well, what did the doctor say? And they have no idea.
No idea. Yeah, no idea. I tell you, no idea.
Yep. I don't remember. But I just think it would be nice if they could come home and somebody says, hey, what did the doctor say? And you say, well, I'm not sure, but here's our conversation, or here's parts of our conversation.
Yeah.
Or this is what I need to do next.
That sounds like a very good suggestion. That would go a long way right there. That would be a big one.
Right.
Yeah. Well, girl, I thank you so much. You're such a special person, I tell you. So I'm going to get you to, if Nancy was to have a chapter in this book and we had to remember what stood out about Nancy, somebody else had to say, this is Nancy. I read this. This chapter's got to be about Nancy. What would be your mantra or your epithet that should be read across your tombstone? What would that be?
Oh.
You didn't see that coming, did you?
No.
What would that be? What says Nancy other than Nancy?
Oh my gosh.
You want me to tell you what I say all the time? You probably heard me say it more than one time. I say it is what it is. I say that a lot.
It is what it is.
Yeah, I said it. I said it a lot, but you can't use mine, so you can't use mine.
Well, I'll take something similar. I'll change a word or two.
Okay. What says you though? What says you?
Oh gosh, I would say I really don't know, girl. I haven't thought about anything like that, and I don't know what I would say. There's probably not enough room.
You got to give me some few words about you. Come on now. I don't want to name you a chapter. If I had to do a eulogy, I know that sounds morbid. What would I say about you?
I really care about the people that I love, and I want the best for each and every one of them. And I'll do till my dying day. I will do what I can to make sure that they're okay. No matter what it takes. Everybody deserves a chance to feel good, be happy, and have a good life. And if I can help one person achieve that, then I've done what I set out to do.
I appreciate you so much. Thank you for
it is what it is.
Huh?
It is what it is.
Oh, you can't use mine. Thank you for taking the time. Continue to take care of yourself too. Okay. Don't burn yourself out. Okay. All right.
I will do that.
We'll be in touch. All right. Have a blessed
Okay.
week. Okay.
Okay. Thank you.
You're welcome. Thank you. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
Once again, thank you, Nancy, so much for tuning in. Oh, I know I got a lot out of that. And she came from the VA system, so that some of us need to know more about that. But just take heed to some of the things she suggested. As I mentioned, we're going to continue to dive in over the next couple of weeks, so continue to listen, okay? We got so much more to cover, so many more people to bring on to try to get a better system. As Nancy said, everybody deserves to live a happy life, to live a more productive and more fulfilled life. And there's sometimes no need for these complications. So continue to tune in, and I will talk to you soon. Take care. Thank you for tuning in today at Let's Achieve Change. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe. You will find out more about Metanoia Education and Wellness Center on our website at changeachieve.com. We welcome your questions and your feedback. Please feel free to fill out the form on the website and we will contact you directly. I pray that you prosper and be in good health, even as your soul prospers. Remember, it's all about the change. Thank you.